purpose for life she really is, and how she was able to turn this passion that she's had, her lifelong passion for fitness and health and well-being, into something that clearly benefits her community. I got to tour that facility, and I actually got moved to tears while I was in there listening to her and how she started, and I just knew she'd be perfect for this episode. This is such a cool one when you think about opening your mind and your heart to possibilities and just what things can be done in a town of less than even 2,000 people. So I guarantee that you're going to find some inspiration from this one. So enjoy this chat with my new friend, Jacki. All right, Jacki. I'm again, I say this like every time. I'm like, I'm so excited you're sitting here, but this is really special. You and I don't know each other very well. You run a business that we're going to talk about here. This is kind of why I wanted to bring you on. When I came and spoke in Warren, Minnesota, a couple weeks ago now, you run this just exceptional, in my mind, it is an exceptional business. You were doing something that I would say the women that I always work with in all these small towns across the country, we need. And your family was lovely. I only met your son, your one son, but I just couldn't wait. When I was in the space and I saw what you would accomplish, I was like, well, and I asked you right there while you were serving me my shake, like, you want to come on my talk show? And you said yes. So here we are. So what I would love it if you would be willing to do is share with the audience what the business is, you know, how you came to start it, and just why you felt the pull to create this business. Because Warren, Minnesota is what, 13 to 1,500 people ish, right? Yep. And that's only relevant for the fact that I want this talk show to be a place of possibility for people. And so I just feel like this is so inspiring. If you can do this in a town the size of Warren, if someone else has it on their heart, so can they.
Absolutely.
So do you want to share a little bit about kind of how this all came to be and why you felt Warren needed this?
Sure. Yes. Well, I started out teaching spin classes at the YMCA. And so I taught there for 10 years, and I also taught at Choice Fitness in Grand Forks.
Okay, I was going to say, it must have been in a bigger community. Warren does not have a YMCA.
Right. Yep, correct. So, and our family moved to Warren, Minnesota. My husband is a pastor of the local church here. And so we moved here, and then I commuted to Grand Forks to teach in classes and enjoy time at the YMCA and Choice Fitness, because I really have a passion for exercise and I love it. And I love helping other people get toned and fit and exercise as well. So, so in 2012, I became a personal trainer. And so in January of 2012, I began training people right here in Warren at our church, and just loved it. And so we had a small group of us, and I'd meet with a group of 4 and a couple singles, gals. And so we started just exercising at the church, and it was awesome, and it was super fun. And one thing I told them was, if we ever get a spot, I would love to bring spinning to Warren. And so then there was a storage spot in our church, and it opened up, and so we had some spin classes. We started spin in probably 4 years ago. So 4 years ago we started our spin classes, and that came from a foundation of just some people that I was helping exercise at the church. And so we had spin classes at the church, and it was wonderful. And then the coffee shop downtown Warren opened up to be for sale. And so my family and I decided to purchase that coffee shop space, and we started remodeling and building onto the facility because we wanted a bigger spin room than what it offered. And so we started there. And so it's my husband, myself, my son-in-law, and my daughter, and then my 2 boys. So it would be me, Eric, Jesse, Luke, Chris and Josh. And Chris is engaged to Jenna, and so she does like all our social media, and that's wonderful. But it really is a family group effort. As far as building, we built it ourselves, so we had to get a few professionals in to help us with electrical and plumbing to make it up to code. But other than that, we did it all ourselves. I mean, we poured cement, we laid footings, we put 2x4s together, and my husband and my son-in-law are very construction savvy, so they were the main guys on the job. So that was amazing to just see what they could really do, and then I would be there to tweak it and help with them, and then paint when it's done. But that was the part, yeah. And take runs to wherever I needed to go to get stuff for them. So that was kind of where I fit in. So we opened our doors in February of 2019, just this year. And then, so just before we opened IronWheel Fitness, we got a call from Fargo, from Adam Larson, who wanted to know if we wanted to open a nutrition club here. And we did. We wanted to do that, but we weren't thinking we wanted to be the owners of that, just because of how much time and effort the fitness center was. We wanted to kind of focus there, and yet we wanted this nutrition club because it would be the first time since I started in 2012 that we would actually have something to offer people that just wanted to lose weight, not necessarily had the time or desire to exercise, or maybe both. But we had finally a program that would go hand in hand with fitness. We've never had that. So we definitely wanted that. We started spreading the word more verbally than, on media or anything, because this position, it's like we wanted to work really closely with them. So we knew, you'd want that certain person. And so we were looking and praying about it and didn't find this person until I talked to my son, Josh, and he said he's interested. And then I talked to Chris, our other son, and he's interested. So now 2 of our family members, owners of IronWheel Fitness, wanted to partner with me and go to do the Rock Solid Nutrition. So we started that, and we opened doors there in March. So we've only been open a little month and a half.
Right. So, okay.
That's amazing.
It
so
is
that
amazing.
Was the start, and that's where we're at.
It really is amazing. So when I came to Warren, I have never taken a spin class. Now, I wish that I could say I took yours and it's amazing, but I was lazy and I slept in that morning. I mean, it's just full disclosure. My friend Mallory and I was like, I should really go. But I might be, Jackie.
Spin class is tough.
I might be a little lazy, but getting to come and see the space, here's what really struck me about it. That I just feel like you had a vision for what you wanted to see happen in your small town. And granted, the biggest thing that I want people to hear about anybody that has an idea like this is that you made use of what you had available to you first. You worked with women in a space that you had available to you. And maybe it wasn't perfect and it wasn't ideal, but you still moved forward. And I think sometimes we think until we have every little thing perfect and right, we won't start. But it was starting that gave you the confidence to know that there were other people that would want this and see value in it. So I think that's a really important thing, because again, you started a business from nothing other than your own passion. And it was built on the success of you doing it for somebody else for many years prior. And you're this beautiful example of how I think it's attainable for people. I really do. They just have to see and hear more examples of other people doing it. So when we went in there, I love the fact that your Rock Solid Nutrition is attached to IronWheel Fitness, right? That's and they're attached. So you literally have people that come in the morning. We're going to talk about kind of your schedule and all a few other things that I want to know from you, but you will have people put their orders in, and they finish working out, and you've got their nutrition, like they take it and they hit the road, and it's just so cool. And I think so health and nutrition has always been, it's important to me, but I think you're filling a much bigger need than just the physical aspects of it. I think you are filling people's souls while they come to your classes. So can you speak to that a little bit? What have you witnessed personally? That connection to spirit and soul and just overall emotional well-being, right? It's never just about the physical body.
Right. It never is. And that is so true. Well, I think of the verse that physical training is of some value, but godliness has value for all things. And so if physical training didn't have any value, I really wouldn't do it. I'm not going to waste my time on something with no value.
Right.
But it does have value because our soul lives in that body. And so we want to take care of that body that we're living in while we have it. But absolutely. And one thing that we do, and I started this, in 2012 when I started my first class, is pray. So I pray for people. And I think we can't do that enough. I can't think of anybody that gets to be prayed for, out loud. Like, we pray for our people in our class, and it's like, that would so bless me if I were coming and someone actually like prayed out loud for me, for my day, for what's happening to me. And so that is something that we do, and I'm just super, super delighted in doing that. And then the other part of that is where people, if they have prayer requests, they can bring those to class, and we'll pray for whatever is on their heart. And I absolutely love to do that as well. And I'm just delighted to be here to bring that spiritual, emotional, and physical package to our community. And I think at first people like, okay, this is a, exercise class and she's praying for us. They're like, that's kind of weird to them at first, and you can tell it's weird to them. But after a few times, like, they're used to it, and pretty soon they're bringing prayer requests to the class because they know that we care about them, all of them, their soul, their spirit, their emotions. And then they will ask a prayer request, and it's just really sweet. And that's just where we see God at work.
Right.
We see God at work in all of it.
Well, I think
it's awesome.
The idea of coming, in other yoga classes, it's setting an intention, and you come to a class, and some of us are burdened by things,
right.
And it could be emotional. It could be lots of things, but just to know that you're setting the intention of, letting this fill you, all of it. Again, I've not witnessed it or experienced it, but I do think it's beautiful, and you get to do it because you run the business. And that's a really cool way that you're incorporating something that's so central to the way that you live your life. Right. Let's talk for a minute. Well, and I'll tell you, it's funny, when I was in the spin room, I got really overwhelmed. I don't have to remember that. I told Mallory, I'm like, I think I'm going to cry. Because I just felt such delight. You used the word delight. I felt such delight for all of you, for all the women that get to come. The night before, and Warren and I had done a small retreat with a handful of women, and several of them come to your classes regularly, and they talked about how meaningful it is to them. And it's just amazing. Yeah, it's just amazing. So let's talk a little bit about the things that you felt to be the most challenging. Were there naysayers that were vocal? And if so, how do you handle that? I get that you're a godly woman, and so some of that is maybe it rolls a little easier, but it's still a bold move to open a place of business like that in a small town. So did you experience any of that, Jacki, you or your family, as you were starting?
Trying to think if there was any of that. And I admit to you that the glasses that I wear are pretty pink. It's a pretty rose-colored vision that I look through. It really is. And to the point of like some people like maybe like literally have a hard time with me or something. I don't know it. Like it to me, all is well. and and I love it all and I love people. And so I was just doing a Bible study and the question was people equal what? Like equal, heartache, people equal difficulties, people equal. And my word there would be people equal energy to me. I love people. They bring energy to me and I love being at class. I love being at the club. And Saturday I was off, so I thought I'm going to go over there and I'm going to just do some cleaning in the gym because there's always stuff to clean and not a lot of time to do it. So I thought I'm going to go over there and clean, and that way if the kids get my son Chris and his fiance were working there, if they get a lineup or something, I'm going to be right there. I'll jump in and help them. I hardly got a thing done because I'd see people, oh, I want to say hi to them. So chat, and I just love people and they bring energy to me. And so was there negativity or thoughts or whatever? Sure. But I don't keep it. I don't hold it. I don't,
For you.
I honestly don't. Yeah. I don't hold any of that on. It's like, yeah, it rolls.
Have you always been that way?
Good question. Oh man. Yeah, I feel like I have, but probably after being saved at 22 and asking Christ into my life, I probably would say that God has given me just more of a confidence in Him and not myself. So I'm not counting on me to do it all right. And if it doesn't, happen all that I, all like I'm hoping or like I, want it to, it's okay because He's got a plan and I'm going to trust the plan, even if I don't see it or don't know it. And so, yeah, I just think there's negativity. Some of the negativity, I would say one thing is some people like really are against soy protein, and so, oh, sure. Wow. Oh, sure. That struck a chord with me. Of course, if I'm going to be in a business with something, I want it to be really good. I don't want to be bringing like I wonder if this is okay. So my daughter and I dug deeply into what's available for product search. And the more we dug, the better we liked it. So that was exciting. But, that some of the negativities, it's like it brought positive out of what was happening there because of that. So we could dig in and now we can say, yep, we've got 3 papers on how awesome this product is. So, right. Yeah.
I think, and the reason I asked if you've always been this way is because I think the way that you are describing your non-reaction really to negativity, the fact that you say you don't hold it, and it is so, this is the kind of work that a lot of the women that I talk to, and myself included, that I am constantly striving to get to a place where I can just let it fall at my feet instead of feeling like you hand it to me and I have to hold it. Because we really don't have to hold it. And honestly, what other people say about you really has nothing to do with you. And I know that logically, but I think it's a lot harder to do in practice. So I think it's beautiful that you're able to just almost bless and release people and, stuff that doesn't serve what you're trying to accomplish or, your bigger purpose. I just think that's really beautiful. And it's not easy to do. I think people tend to struggle with that more. So it's cool to hear you say that.
I think that verse that says, love keeps no record of wrongs. Mm-hmm. It's like, I do so many things wrong. If people kept record of that, I couldn't, it'd be tough for me to move forward and, be okay in their life because I blow it. Right. No doubt. So that's why I look at it like, I'm not going to hold that against them. Like they blew it. And I know small town, especially, people talk and you feel like, oh, they're talking about me, they're talking about me. But too, when I think of that, I just think, oh, they don't know the half of it. I mean, if they want to talk about me, I could let them know so many awful things. It's like, what you're talking about is nothing. Let me fill you in to reality, and really something to talk about, because man, I was here doing that and I was here doing that, and you should have seen me there. That was awful, you know. And so I have so much, that I am so much worse than anybody could make me out to be. That, like, go ahead and chat, because I could tell you a lot worse.
That's funny. And I mean, it's funny, and but it's good to remember, because truthfully, you were a transplant to Warren. Yeah. Right? You didn't grow up in Warren. So we went
there 8 years ago.
Okay. So there is some difficulty sometimes with just people embracing. Did you feel for a period of time that you were an outsider?
Yeah, for probably a little bit. But before we moved here, definitely. And then when we first moved in, there's definitely that feeling of you're not in yet, but yet we had people from the church that we had been attending with for a couple of years. So 2 years we were going to church, first in Alvarado and then in Warren. And because our church moved locations. And so those people, like, right away, embraced us and our family. And it's so small town. Like, I'd go to the hardware store and they would just say, "Oh, so you're in Rocky's old house. Oh, that entryway. What are you going to do with that entryway? Because that furnace thing is right in your closet." It's like, oh, everybody's been in the house that I'm now living in.
You really know.
They know. But one time we cheer for the ponies, because we'd been going to church here for long enough, and then we'd come up even to sporting events, even when we didn't live here, and cheer for the ponies. And one Sunday, my husband said to one of the guys at church, even, like, "Hey, so do you think we're going to win the game this week?" And then the guy looked at my husband and said, "You don't live here." So, I mean, there's a definite, like, you're not quite here. But yeah, moving here did, help that. And so we felt a little out.
Right. It's just interesting. I mean, it's just small town dynamics. I mean, I think this is it's present everywhere in every small town, where you come in and you're not one of us. And I don't know, I think for every community, there's a different moment in time when you've put in your time, like what that time frame looks like, as far as when you're now you belong here. Now we'll take you, kind of a thing. Right. If, so thinking about the women or men that might watch this episode, Jacki, what encouragement could you give to somebody if they have an idea that's on their heart and they're just not sure how to start, where to start, what to do? And that's very broad, I realize, but you have a very powerful story.
Right.
To me, it was clarity of vision. You knew what you wanted to do. So do you have any kind of parting wisdom that you would give to somebody that's in that beginning stage?
Great question. I would say if you have a passion about something, like, I feel like God has made me, he wired me with a passion for exercise and fitness. I literally came out of the womb, I think, doing jumping jacks. But if that's you, like, if you have a passion and that's what you do, it's you do that. Like, if you're a runner, you could start a running club. If you like fitness like me, you find a small group of women. It's like, I started out, I think, with 6 people, a group of 4, and then a single gal. And so that was my starting point. And I think in 2 years, I think I grew up to like a group of 22, which still isn't huge, but it's 22. So from 22, then you have a foundation to begin the next thing, which for us was a spin class. And honestly, I think I lost one person because they weren't interested in that. Change is hard for people.
Mm-hmm.
Change is hard. So
Yes.
you've got your 22 and now you're going to do this next thing.
Right.
Well, 21, made the transplant, and one was, I'm just not interested, and that's okay. So I think that would be my word to leave with somebody is, don't be afraid to move forward because of the one or whatever going, no, don't do that next thing. Because it might be just the right move for you to move forward with.
Right.
Yeah.
What I love, a couple things that you just said that I think are such good takeaways is ultimately you're saying start somewhere, we get really wrapped up in how do I start? Well, you have to just start. I mean, sometimes it's as simple as, like you said, finding one or two people that might want what you want to do and asking them, inviting people, right? And then the second thing that I think is so valuable is you're talking about being a good steward of your gifts. And I talk about that all the time. In fact, that night in Warren, we talked about that. The group of nearly 80 women that were there, we talked about, aligning yourself, putting yourself in alignment with the things and the committees and the projects and the programs and the people that allow you to be a good steward of the gifts that you've been given. And so you use the word passion, which I totally agree with. And I think for some of the people listening, maybe it doesn't have to become a business. I mean, that's something that's really important. You just said it, start a running club, right?
Right.
But give yourself an outlet for that passion, because you probably aren't the only one.
Right.
And sometimes maybe in a small town, it feels like that, like I'm the only one that cares about this one thing. But start small. And with social media, you can put a quick little group together and you can do it really quickly, which is great.
Yes, that's for sure. With social media, you can get to a lot of people in a short amount of time.
Right. So there's almost no limit to finding a way to live out your passion and use your gifts. And you're such a beautiful example of that. And there might be somebody that's going to watch this that thinks either me or somebody I know would love to see something like this happen. And so I want to if you're sharing kind of daily what happens. By the way, how many spin classes do you offer a day? Or what does that schedule kind of look like?
Right. Wow, that's a good Tuesday. Let's see, Monday, Wednesday, there's, I think, 4 classes a day. So there's 5 a.m., 6 a.m., 4:45 p.m., and then Pilates.
Cool.
Offered Mondays and Wednesdays, and then Tuesdays and Thursdays. Oh, there's even more. Probably 5. Probably there's a 8:30. There's a 6 a.m. on Tuesdays, Thursdays, 8:30. Nikki's 9 a.m. and on Thursday 9:45 a.m. And then 5:05 we started a beginners class. It's full. It was amazing. And then 6 o'clock there's strength, and 7 o'clock there's spin. And I mean, we're packing them. Packing them. It's awesome.
It's amazing.
And I babysit for some of those classes. So that's another passion of mine. It's like exercise and children. So what will my life have in it? Exercise and children. And so I babysit for Nikki's class, and I babysit for Josh and Chris's class.
And I've looked at your beautiful brochure. You basically just denote with like an asterisk which of the classes the childcare is available. Again, people in small towns, like it was so walking through your space, I cried with the thought of like, I would give anything to have this in my community. It was just so cool. And we have a gym. So, I'm thankful for that, but the space, that open free room. So that's why hopefully when we start to kind of share and promote this episode, you can share some cool pictures of the space and maybe people in class, just so people can see it. It is so incredible. So all I can say is thank you. Thank you for being, thank you for coming on the show, of course, but thank you for being the kind of person, and your whole family, that has a heart for people, has a heart for your small town, and are just showing up in such a beautiful way, sharing your gifts with the people in your community. It's exactly the kind of thing I want for everybody I know. So thank you so much, Jacki.
Yes, thank you. It was just a privilege.
If you are looking for ways to support and nurture yourself, mind, body, heart, and spirit, I encourage you to grab your copy of the Small Town Survival Kit. You'll see the things that I use day in and day out to maintain that balance, making sure that I'm really taking care of this vessel and all the parts of the vessel. Check it out.